Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Dear students, welcome to the course Organic Farming. In last 3 classes we have learned what is the organic farming, the definition, principles, what are the different type of things which are permitted to use in the organic farming and what are the different type of restricted use. And we have already know we cannot use any inorganic fertilizer or pesticides or herbicide in organic farming. We have also known whatever the trends of world agriculture, how the export of different types of commodities is doing in the world and what is the total area coverage in the world. We have also learned how we are going also organically in certain parts or for some high value crops in also in India. What are the different type of crops is going in the organic farming, what is the scope and limitation, and how our organic market in India is also developing and what is our role for exporting different type of produce. Now, in this class we will learn the soil and crop management in organic farming. As we are already told, organic farming is we cannot use anything of these artificially produced or synthetically produced fertilizer, pesticides or growth regulators and other feedstocks. So, what we have to do? We have to rely some organic farming or organic manure. For nutrient we have to make different type of compost, we can rely on the crop rotation, legume incorporation, crop diversification, farm diversification, and similarly we can use different type of compost, green manure, green leaf manure and vermicomposting. So, for managing a farm of organic, we have to think holistically. We have to manage soil and crop in a very simultaneous manner, so that our maximum interest should be not to feed the crop, but to feed the soil. We have tried to promote the soil, we have to enhance the soil quality, soil physical structure, soil chemical structure, soil biological structure. So, only when our soil quality will be good, then the soil probably can supply sufficient amount of all the nutrients for the plant growth, and we cannot go also for inorganic pest and disease management. For organic farming also we have to go for organically management of pest diseases including the weeds. So, if you see in many traditional agriculture system, a diversity of crop in times and space can be found. A good crop planning and management is required in order to optimize the use of nutrient in the soil. Crop rotation, intercropping, cover crops, green crops, these are some different type of things which we have to rely very much in our organic farming in absence of different types of very low volume inorganic fertilizer. So, if you see, a good management practices consist of which of the following things. In a good management practices, whenever we promote in organic farming, we have to do the crop rotation, we have to go for the farm diversification, legume incorporation should be an indispensable part, either maybe different type of pulses, maybe intercropping, maybe in cropping sequence. Also the cover crops, so that the soil will be covered, soil condition will be better, the temperature will be regulated, and also soil erosion maybe wind or water will be less. Soil amendment, what are the different type of soil amendment, maybe FYM, and whatever the other type of lime which are permitted or restricted we will discuss, and whatever the different type of mulches, these mulches may be maize straw, it may be plastic straw or living mulches. Similarly, there is a very need of rainwater harvesting, we have to always promote to rainwater harvesting within our own farm, because and nowadays this is also it is going to be enhanced when our crop yield with using very less water. So, more crop per drop, this is our mantra. And whatever the different type of crop and variety selection, I have just will deals only these different type of these whatever the principles for a finally and a very suitably managed farm. And if you see, for crop and varietal selection, some crops and some varieties you have to always promote organic farming, not all the crops. There may be some crops which are very nutrient exhaustive. So, they take lots of nutrients from the soil. So, and there are some big crops which are very much insect and pest susceptible. So, in organic farming where we cannot apply any inorganic fertilizer or pesticide, we have tried to grow that type of crops which are somewhere or that type of varieties where there will be some resistance to insect, pest and diseases. Also we have to grow this type of crops where the traditional type of cultivation should be promoted, and also we have to see a variety has been very giving high yielding, it may be giving very good yield in condition of inorganic fertilizer condition, but under the organic farming the same variety may not perform well. So these things we have to think: the amount of water required, the type of nutrients required, a number of nutrients, temperature, altitude, soil and rainfall. And if we see general principles, what is the different principles we have to choose a crop, by which we should think which should be crop we should take in our organic farming. And if you see the density of highly specialized quality in the market we have to think, where is the destiny, for we are growing some particular tomato or cucumber high value crop, if there is certain market definitely we will grow. So always market play a very important role. Also the choose varieties which have a good resistant to common diseases, to take into account the effect of both the crops that come before and as will come after when deciding on the rotation. And what about the different factors determining the choice of crop? The demands of the market, the type of the soil. In acidic soil we have to grow this type of crop which are better suited to acidic, not the alkaline condition. Similarly in case of calcareous or alkaline soil we should promote that type of crop, not the type of crop just like potato. So when we are location specific and climate adaptive crop we are growing, then our management will be very much easier, especially in case of organic farming. And a correct crop rotation is a strong point for effective organic agriculture. Now it is coming the crop rotation. Crop rotation refers to the sequence of crops and cover crops grown in specific field. It is one of the primary management tools essential for the success of low input and organic farm systems. So suppose we are growing a crop rice, and every year we are growing rice. Some people may grow 2 crops, rice followed by wheat, next year again rice by followed by wheat, next year again rice by wheat. If we always follow this type of monocropping or same type of cropping situation, not only our wheat population will increase, insect and pest will be there, and there will be nutrient depletion, because they always take nutrition from the same layer of soil, maybe in the surface layer. So always we have to try to promote certain other type of crops. This year I have grown maize, so next year probably I can grow pea, I can grow groundnut, soybean. Similarly in case of winter crop also we should promote some different type of crops. So when we are different type of crops in a rotation, we are changing the crops over the time in a particular area of land, then our maintenance will be good, our weed problem, insect and pest attack will be also low, and that is very much required for a sustainable organic farm. So crop rotation is the following benefits: it improves the soil structure, some crops have strong deep roots. So there is some crop, they have probably in the surface layer most of the root is there. There may be some other crop where their root is very deep. So if we grow this type of crop in rotation, some crop will take nutrient from the deeper layer, some nutrient will take the nutrient from the surface layer. So there will be very less competition in between them. It also increases the soil fertility. When you are growing leguminous such as groundnut, bean, it fixes nitrogen in the soil, and after decomposition of their body part, all the nutrients whatever they have absorbed from the deeper soil layer, they again going back to the surface soil layer. So the crop which are growing in rotation, which have a surface root system, they will be benefited. Crop rotation also helps to control weed, pest and diseases. Whenever we are grow same crop year after year, the weed seeds become dominant. These weeds, there are some weeds, they are very much mimicry the crop plants, and they want the same favorable environment with that crop. We are growing every year suppose rice, there may be some echinoclea species of weed which is very tough to identify in the initial stages. So if we are growing next year some other crops, then what happened? That weed does not get its favorable condition. So even though it germinate, it will not come to its maturity condition, so it cannot give its seeds. So in the next 2-3 years our weed population for rice will be reduced. So this is one important advantage. Second, sometimes when we are growing the same crop, maybe of insect, maybe of disease, their spores or causal organisms keep within the soil. So whenever the next crop is coming in succession, they attack. But if we change the crop, because this time they are very host specific, if they are attacking, suppose crop is maize, in the next 2-3 years he is not getting the maize, probably their density or their causal organism population will be decreased. So, always in crop rotation we promote for the efficient management of weed, pest and diseases. It produces different type of output. A farmers maybe get only rice and wheat, but if there is some also getting chickpea, lentil, pea in the crop rotation, say he is also getting good quality of the pulses. So, also it provides the balanced diet. In some ways crop rotations take the place of ploughing the soil. What is the importance of legumes? Legume has a very important role in our organic farming. Legume are the nitrogen fixation industry. Whatever the nitrogen fixation has been occurred in our industrial process, may the form of urea or other, our biological nitrogen fixation through nature is higher than that. So, bacteria in root nodules convert nitrogen into usable form, and that is essential for the regeneration of nutrient deficient soil. They also provide a nutrient protein. So, rhizobium is staying in some leguminous plants as root nodules in association. Plant provide the food and energy to the rhizobium, while the rhizobium is fixing the nitrogen from the atmosphere and giving back to the plants. So, they both helping each other, and whatever the nitrogen being fixed in the soil, a certain part is kept for the future use, so that our soil fertility is enhanced. So, if we are growing some legume crops in our succession, so probably in the next time when we are growing the same cereal crop, yield may be better. Legumes are also source of protein, folate, fiber, iron. They also have several components. They help to prevent development of various chronic diseases like cardiovascular disease, cancer, digestive health, diabetes and obesity. So, always there is a need of promotion of this type of pulse and legume cultivation under organic farming. Why pulses? Why not the other crops? There is a simple difference between the legumes and pulses. All the pulses are being legumes, but all the legumes are not pulses. Among the different legumes, whichever the produce we are using as our food as dal, just like our chickpea, chana, our lentil, we can also use the pigeon pea or black gram or green gram, that is called pulses. And if you see what is the protein percentage, a majority percentage for chickpea is 21%, for the green gram it is 25%, cowpea is 29%, horse gram is 27%. So, if you see the protein content, and in India we have a majority population are the vegetarian, and so protein is very important for its body building and health. So, in that condition these pulses or legumes play a very important role, apart from also they are enriching the soil fertility. So, always we have to try to promote this type of legume or pulse cultivation in our cropping system. Biological nitrogen fixation. In our atmosphere about 78% to 80% is nitrogen, but that nitrogen we cannot use directly in the field, and whatever the chemical process, nitrogen plus hydrogen becomes ammonia, and after that we are producing urea. And this inorganic fertilizer whatsoever we are using, there is a lot of cost is there, lots of energy involved, but nature has provided the rhizobium that capacity, so they can fix the nitrogen from the atmosphere in the plant's root, and they supply this nutrient to the soil and make the soil fertile. And if you see there, this rhizobium bacteria is a gram-negative bacteria, they are microbiologic, but they are always host specific. We have, whenever we do some crop management, we have to think what type of pulses we are growing. If we are growing alfalfa, then rhizobium meliloti will be needed for inoculation. If we are growing for soybean, probably Bradyrhizobium japonica will be needed, while in case of pea and lathyrus, Rhizobium leguminosarum vers viscei is important. So, one species may not be applicable for the other. So, always we have to take care of this crop and soil management practices. Similarly, whatever the contribution of rhizobium in the nitrogen fixation, if you see in case of nitrogen we can fix from 60 to 98 kilo per hectare, while in case of clover up to 200 kilo nitrogen of fixation can be done. So, 200 is not a very less amount. This 200 mean more than 420 kilo of urea. So, by this different process, also if you see the Bengal gram and green gram, they are also producing 50 to 110 kilo of nitrogen, and this nitrogen is easily available for the plants. They can grow for that. What is the intercropping? Intercropping refers to the practice of growing two or more crops in proximity, and growing or two or more cash crops together growing is called intercropping. So, in intercropping we are growing several crops, but is the difference between the mixed cropping. In case of mixed cropping we are singly mixing the seeds and trowing, but whenever we case of intercropping you see we generally we grow in a definitely row arrangement. One line of probably cause of cereal, one line of we can go for the legumes. So, that also helps in the enhancing the soil fertility, reducing the weed problem and give some additional yield. There may be different types of intercropping, and intercropping there needs a very much management of spatial management, plant architecture, density and maturity dates. We always try to promote intercropping when two crops their maturity is not same. Some crop is mature earlier, some crop is mature later. The nutrient peak demand should not be same. Some crop may be nutrient take more amount after 40 days, while the second intercrop may be take after the 70 or 80 days. So, there should not be any competition. There should not be any competition between the component plants of intercropping for space, for light, for water and for other nutrients. And if you see, this is the intercropping, there is two type of intercropping is there, one is additive series and one is replacement series. In case of additive series, what are we have done, the plant population of one crop is maintained as 100%. Suppose you are growing maize crop in sole cropping 100%, but reducing the inter row length, the row to row length we are reducing in case of maize, and in this place we are accommodating some other crops. Suppose in case of sugarcane is a very spacious crop, maybe 90 centimeter is the spacing, and in between area is kept fallow. If we grow some type of green gram or black gram in between space, so some additional crop is there, we are not reducing the population of the main crop, that is the additional series. And in case of replacement series, suppose after 5 row of wheat, we just 1 row we are growing mustard, after 2 rows of maize we are growing 2 rows of soybean. So, in that condition the population of the main crop is little bit reduced, but we are applying, we are growing some another crops particularly for legume for different advantage for the nitrogen fixation and maybe some weed suppression activities, then it is called the replacement series. If you see, this is a different type of advantage, different type of pictures. We are growing maize with barley, we are growing maize with mustard, maize with pea and maize with potato, but in organic farming we should promote intercropping mainly with legume incorporation. We should always promote the growth of legume in intercropping, so that our soil fertility will be enhanced, because we cannot use any inorganic fertilizer like urea and other DAP and other things. So, we have to rely on this naturally nitrogen fixer industrial plant just like the legumes. There is also multi-storied cropping. In some parts where our area is less and we can want to grow different type of crop, that is called multi-story, just like 2-story floor, 3-story floor. There is, when we are growing some crop at the top, maybe coconut, below coconut we can go for the banana, and below banana we can grow for cowpeas of other crops. So, 3 layers are cropping and they all occupied in the single space. So, within same area we are growing 3 crops in different store. So, some plant may be light more needed is coconut, while in case of banana they need little bit shade they can tolerate. So, this type of plant we have to select. We cannot take this type of planting where both the plant is needed too much light, then we cannot grow that as a multi-story cropping. Similarly, hedgerow or yellow crop, in our field there are lots of area is there in the band, that area is not utilized properly. So, we should always promote to grow some leguminous crops. Why legume? Because also they fix the nitrogen in the soil, and also their leaves contain nitrogens like tephrosia or some other hedgerow crops more than 3% nitrogen on the dry wet basis. So, whenever we using these leaves by simply cutting, chopping and mixing in the soil fertility ends up. Also they work as a soil conditioner, they increase the soil aeration, that is the soil porosity, reducing the bark density, and that improves the soil physical structure. There is another term is green manuring. Sometimes we are growing, when we grow some type of crops, here our main advantage is not for the yielding. We are growing these crops not to get any economic product. We are simply growing these crops as a soil conditioner, because when we are growing some luxuriant crops in a field prior to growing the main field, lot of enough biomass will be generated, and this biomass after certain past, when they are very soft, after 30 to 40 days we are simply cutting and chopping within the field. So, what happened? This enormous amount of crop residue is coming back to the soil. So, we are carbon farming, we are enriching the carbon in the soil. So, it enhances the soil physical, chemical and biological properties of the soil. Beside, we also, if that green manure is legume, it will add nitrogen fixation. And if you see, whatever the different crops are suitable, dhanchania, sunham, cowpea, pea, barsim, lucerne, you see most of these are leguminous in nature. So, apart from the giving crop residue, they also fix a very good quantity 100 to 200 kilo of nitrogen in the soil. So, that nitrogen is very much necessary when we cannot use any inorganic fertilizer in our organic farm. So, always we have to try promote this type of crop in our cropping system. Why legumes are preferred for the green manure? This is because they can have the ability to fix nitrogen into the soil. They are readily decomposing crop, because why decomposing? Their carbon is to nitrogen ratio, that is the CN ratio is very high, when C is very low, sorry. So, when C is to N ratio for a legumina crop is very low, the decomposition process is faster. So, there will not be any immobilization immediately in the soil. So, that is why always in the composting and other things we are advocating to mixing this legume straw along with the rice or wheat straw. So, what will be the criteria for green manuring crops? It should be fleshy and soft, crops should be of short duration and fast growing, it should be leguminous in nature, it should not attack pests and diseases, it is reportedly decomposing and should have fibrous root system. Now, time of green manuring is also important. Whenever we do some organic farm, we are activity, we have to think in which time we grow for organic. Suppose there our main kharif season starts from June, July, August, September, October. Similarly, in the winter season, we are growing vegetable in the month of November, December, January, February. So, we cannot afford these precious times to growing for the green manure crop. Why? Because this green manure crop, they are enhancing the soil fertility, they also act as a soil conditioner and improves the soil physical structure, but they are not directly giving any benefit to the farmers, because we are not producing anything from the green manure crop and sell in the market. So, farmers may feel whenever if we grow this type of green manure crops in our main cropping season, then definitely there will be yield loss for other crops. So, the profit maximization will not be occur. That is why we want to green manure crops either before the kharif season or after. Suppose we are growing some crop maybe April, May, June. So, March, April, when the land is normally vacant, we are not growing any crop. So, in this condition we can grow, this time will be suited for the green manure crops. Also see green manuring in situ and green limb manure. Sometime we have some time period 3 or 4 months. So, in this period we are growing some type of crop, maybe sesbania, maybe cowpea, maybe other crops like rice bean, and after 30 to 40 days we mix in the soil. Sometimes it is not possible, there is not enough soil moisture, there may not be enough time to grow the crop in the field. So, in that condition what can be? In the barns we can grow different types of green limb manure plants. Maybe in the jungles area or in the vicinity of the farm there are different type of leguminous trees. So, this leaf we can simply cut it, chop it and mix in the soil. It is called green limb manure. Green manure where we are growing in the same field, but green limb manure we are collecting from the adjacent area and that leaf is being used as a manure in the main field. So, this is our uncultivable land, you can see lots of jungle biomass is there, and from this you can use different type of this leaf, you can cut it, chop it and mix in the soil. So, we can tell this is green leaf manure. While if you can see also we are growing different type of as a hedgerow crop, just like tephrosia in the barn, this leaf also we can cut and mix in the soil. So, this is also one type of green leaf manuring. While if you see the soybean we are growing within the field in between the maize lines, and after certain part we are topping the leaves and mixing in the, so you can, it is green manuring. Another is that the companion planting. What is companion planting? Companion planting is a small scale method of intercropping which refers to the practice of planting one kind of plant next to another or other that help it thrive. It is often associated with small scale organic garden. So, in case of small scale organic farming, companion planting is also there, and it is usually refers to small scale planting of vegetables. We are going sometime herbs and flower crops selected based on the benefits providing to the neighboring plants. So, what is the benefits of this companion planting? It is a one type of intercropping. It trail support, because some plant maybe need some support and we cannot provide any every time bamboo structure or some wooden structure. So, if you are growing some type of crop which are hardy in nature and tall erect, they help for their nearby intercrop which is companion in nature, maybe pea, so they help in the anchorage. Similarly, they also help in the suppressing weeds. They are providing nutrients. Whenever we are growing some companion crop and one companion crop is your legume, it fixes the nitrogen. Similarly, it also known to decrease the different type of pest problem, pollination and attraction of the beneficial insects. because the attraction of beneficial insect is very much necessary. We cannot use any insecticide or pesticide in our organic farm, but this beneficial insect play a very major role. They feed on the different type of insect which are directly or indirectly causing harm to our plants. So always we have to promote this type of beneficial insect in our cropping system, in our field, so that we can manage our organically farm very well without using any insecticide or pesticides. Second is the cover crops. You know the name, it is cover crops, it means it cover the soil. So what is the purpose of these cover crops? If you go the definition, when it will cover to some extent, it will reduce whatever there may be too much rainfall. It will reduce the impact of that rainfall dropping into the soil. So your soil detachment process will be slow. Water surface runoff velocity will be reduced and your soil loss will be reduced. Similarly, it also protects the plant from the wind erosion if there is too much heavy storm. So it always reduce the soil loss. Indirectly it also help the soil fertility. And whenever these cover crops we are growing leguminous in nature, they also fix nitrogen, and after they are mixing in the soil or decays over the time, they also enrich the soil fertility and soil, enhancing the soil physical and biological characteristics of the soil. And in the cover crops there are lots of soil microbial organisms, they live within this plant debris. So always we should promote cover crops in our organic farming system. This is the improved nutrient cycling, nutrient organic matter, reduce soil erosion, water absorption and wildlife habitat. They also provide benefit to the system, encouraging beneficial soil microbes, cycling of nutrients, retaining of soil moisture, preventing erosion, which I have already discussed. So what is the characteristics of a crop to make a cover crop? We are always try to promoting different type of crops and farm activities. So a cover crop, whenever will be identified which cover crop should be good, the seed should be cheap, easy to get, so that we have there is not a very cost. That should be rapid growth of growth. If the growth is not rapid, it cannot cover the soil easily, and so it cannot suppress the weed. Be resistant pest and diseases. If it invite lots of other pests, then probably it will also increase the intensity of pest and disease at a crop. So it should be resistant. It should be large amount of organic matter, so that whenever it will apply in the soil, so it will act as a soil conditioner, and beside also supply different type of nutrients. And if it is deep rooted, it take the nutrients from the lower soil layer and mix in the surface layer. It should be fixed nitrogen from the air, and also it will be easy to sow and manage. It can be also used a fodder, because in organic farming we are always promoting to grow different type of livestock. In maybe they are in the some part of year where the fodder availability is very much low. So in that condition, if we are growing some cover crops, and after certain time if we can use as a feed for our animals as a fodder, so it will help not only by fixing nitrogen in the soil, but also enhancing the productivity of our livestock. So there are different types of cover crops we are using as a leguminous species. One is alfalfa, that is Medicogus sativa, crimson clover, that is Trifolium incarnatum, faba beans, and hairy vetch, and cowpea. Cowpea is a very important cover crops and used throughout the India, because it has luxuriant growth, very speedy growth habit and covering capacity, and also this very tender pod we can use as a vegetable purpose. So this cowpea has tremendous, they can also use as a fodder, as a cover crop, as a vegetable, and also the nitrogen fixation crop. So cover crop also have some non-leguminous crop. Although we are most of the time we are trying to promote the cover crops which are leguminous in nature, so that they can fix nitrogen into the soil, because in organic farming nitrogen fixation is very much necessary, and for nutrient giving, if we want to take one crop it is okay, but nowadays due to the population pressure we have to produce more and more food. So in the same land we have to grow 2 or 3 crops even under our organic farm, and for that condition we always try to promote one crop in the cropping succession should be legume. So but in some cases we can also grow for some other crops which is not legume in nature. And what is this? One is the barley, that is the buckwheat. This is Phagopyra masculinum. There is a very important crop, and it can grow with very limited soil moisture. You need not to apply it any irrigation. Also the oat can be gai, winter wheat, annual rye. So these cover crops, one of the important things, just on not only they are helping to conserve the soil moisture and also the reducing the soil erosion from the water and wind storm, but also using as a fodder for our animal. So any cover crops, they have the multiple type of objective, and we have to always promote this type of crops cover crops, especially legume and non-legume cover crops in our organic farming system for a better sustainable yield and better soil quality. So, right now I have discussed what about the different crop management practices, because I have already told in organic farming how we can arrange different type of crops, maybe cover crops, maybe legumes, either is a intercropping or in cropping sequence. Also different type of crops, how can we grow as a green manure or green leaf manure. Now we will concentrate on whatever is the different type of soil amendments. So, what is called the soil amendment? Amendments is any material when you are applied in the soil, so they help to amend the soil. So, it means they help to enhance the properties of the soil, maybe physical structure, they can enhancing the quality, they can also the soil chemical quality and also the soil biological quality. So, there are different types of materials which are allowed under organic farming to enhance the soil amendment, and this is very much necessary to make a very good quality soil in organic farming, because here our main promotive is not directly give the nutrient to the plants, but feed the soil, so that soil becomes self-sustainable to provide all types of macro, major, minor or micro nutrients to the plants in sufficient amount. So, if we see why do these materials needed? To increase the soil organic matter, to support the soil food web, to increase the moisture holding capacity of the soil, to improve the texture, improve the soil erosion, and what are the different type of soil amendments? Black earth is there, peat moss, compost, animal manure. This compost and animal manure, they have a very good role in our organic farming. In our future process, we will also go whatever the different type of composting process, what is the different type of compost and animal manure, whatever the different sources of animal is there. So, how in our next lecture I will also deliver in details what type of different manure is how to produce, however different manure and what their nutrient concentration I have already discussed in my previous lecture. So, here I will tell some light on the different soil amendment, how are they are helping. If you can see this a picture of different element, may you can also maybe lime, maybe your cow dung or maybe some other materials. So, what is the different types of? One is animal manures, the animal manure may be goat manure, sheep manure, horse manure, buffalo manure, cattle manure, duck manure, poultry manure, rabbit manure. So, lot of livestock is there and all their manures has a certain role in the organic soil amendment. They enhance the soil pH, they some also reduce the bark density, increase the soil aeration, enhance the soil water holding capacity, enhance the nutrition. Similarly, there is municipal waste. In type of all the cities, there is too much waste is there. If we can convert to in good quality organic manure, they also have some role in our in soil amendments. Green manure. We have already told what is the different type of green manures we are using in the crops, different type of legumes we are growing and we are applying mixing in the soil, they also act as a soil amendment. Similarly, industrial discharge is there, maybe some sugarcane industry, just bagasse and also some other plants, but we have to always sure in which chemical procedure they have gone. If there is some chemical procedure and lots of some chemical residue is there, maybe some heavy metal is there, then we cannot use in our organic farming. So, there are some is on farm and off farm. What is on farm? On farm, what is the different type of residue that is generating or producing within the farm, that is called on farm. And what is because our off farm, what we are not, that generation is not within our farm, but that is lot of available outside of our farm and we can use that. So, on farm sources include bedding, because in every livestock component we are getting different type of bedding materials, maybe sawdust, maybe rice straw, compost, crop residue, manure, then silage, spoiled food, that is our kitchen waste like this, and spent nutrition solution. This is our on farm sources. And what is the off farm is available near our outside our farm. These are includes chemical fertilizer, chemical conditioner, but in organic farming in chemical fertilizer and chemical conditioner cannot we use. So, we have to think which is not produce the chemical fertilizer producing, but we can use some wood waste, some agricultural waste, lime is also applicable in organic farming. So, why composting is necessary? If you see, there are whenever these all the residue materials is there, we cannot directly use these materials in our field, because they are very bulky in nature, we cannot carry, transportation cost will be very high. Similarly, all these whenever we are using, they may be too much odor or there may be too much moisture to handle, but if we all the organic residue, maybe our kitchen waste, maybe different type of cow dung and slurry and also our plant like rice straw, wheat straw and other, and if we can make good quality compost, then it will be orderless, it will be very low in volume, quality will be superior, and it can be easily applicable for the farmers. A labor also can use this and he will not feel hesitate to use. Similarly, the complex materials should directly convert it, because whenever this organic residue we are applying into our field, there is a problem due to their high CN ratio, there may be some immediate immobilization occur within the soil. So, nitrogen in the periphery of the root surface may be reduced for certain particular time. So, but if we compost this, and when in the process of composting the CN ratio will be narrowed down, after that easily it also reduce the weed problem. Different type of weed seed is there, when is go for the process of composting they are dying. It also eliminate the chances of different type of insect, pest and disease, their germ causal organism present maybe just like E. coli, but in the composting they are also reduced. So, always we have to try to promote composting, and only after that we should apply it in our organic farm. If you see, this is the simply two type of weed biomass, but we cannot directly use this in our farm. We have to always make a compost, only after that we can use. Also they have a high nitrogen content 3%, because this weed seed may be problematic to our crop. Similarly, we should also provide, we should be community vermicomposting unit. If you see, whenever it is possible, we should make some composting or vermicomposting. It is not necessary every time we can make very big vermicomposting unit, but we can make a small vermicomposting unit. This vermicompost unit can be made with the brick, in the pit method by digging a dung. Otherwise, we can also make this vermicompost in small plastic, that is called vermibed, and one vermibed is reduced to produce 800 to 1000 kilo of vermicompost throughout the year in 3 to 4 cycle. So, everywhere when we are promoting in organic farming, we are promoting organic farming maybe some high value crops. Otherwise, we can also promote organic farming in the area where farmers are using very less amount of inorganic fertilizer. So, this composting method may be normal composting or maybe vermicomposting, we should be promote. And there are different type of composting style. What will be the different process? Maybe Bangalore method, Indore method, NAFED method, Coimbatore method, which I will discuss in the later lectures. So, composting is very much necessary for our organic ecosystem. What will be the different organic source of nutrient? If you see, one is bulky organic manure. This is very high amount. This is transport cost will be high. Nutrient concentration is little bit high. Among this, farminier manure, animal manure, dung, urine, poultry manure, fish manure, sewage slug, wood ash, these all are bulky in nature. So, we have to apply little bit in high amount. There is also some concentrated organic manure where the nutrient content is very high. So, we have to use very less amount in our organic farm. Like that, oil cakes. Whenever you are using groundnut, we take the oil. We are using the mustard oil, we are consuming. But whatever the leftover part is called oil cake. Also, it not only have a very good value for feed to our livestock, but it also there contain very high amount of nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium and several micronutrients, because whatever the plant has extracted the different nutrients, they stay in the part of this oil cake. And this oil cake, some oil cakes like neem oil cake, they have also some insecticidal properties. So, they are always advocating use in the organic farming where we cannot use any inorganic insecticide. Similarly, different type of biofertilizer we should also promote in case of our organic farming. Biofertilizer mean the use of living organisms which helps as a fertilizer. What is rhizobium? Rhizobium is a bacteria that just live in the nodules of the legumes, and they can fix atmospheric nitrogen in the soil. Similarly, there is phosphorus solubilizer like Bacillus pseudomonas. They also help to solubilize the phosphorus so that from complex form to easily available form, so that the plant root can take. Similarly, if you see the potash solubilizer, there is also Frateria and Bacillus. There is also herbascular mycorrhiza like Glomus. In certain parts, the root hair cannot reach in a larger area. There may be some nutrient is available, but plant is not getting. So, what is the AM, this herbascular mycorrhiza doing? They are making some small hyphae, and they have make some net like structure from the root hair to that area where the nutrient is present. So, that is why they are helping to phosphorus and other micronutrient absorption of the plant. So, and these are very low cost, and they are always, when you are applying in the soil, they will stay for many period. So, they are in a lengthy period. So, always we have to promote this type of biofertilizer application in our organic farming. So, what is the organic source of nutrients for others? There are different type of organic formulation has been done. Traditionally, our forefathers is also using different type of liquid manure and organics, and over the years there is modern science has come. So, this is always our question, how we will use our traditional knowledge. Every traditional ITK practices is not superstition. There is a lot of science behind it, but we have to discover what is the science, why it is working. If we use this our ITK, that is indigenous technical knowledge, and we can amalgam, otherwise we mixing with our modern scientific knowledge, then we can harness that potential and that will be complementary for each other. There are other cell, wood, rock phosphate. Suppose in acid soil, phosphorus is deficient because in acid soil it is being fixed with iron and aluminum phosphate. So, although the phosphorus is available in the soil, the plant cannot get it. Whenever we using some organic manure like FYM or some other things, we have seen they have content phosphorus is little bit less amount as compared to the nitrogen and potassium. So, how we will supply the phosphorus in organic farm? One is the rock phosphate, because rock phosphate is simply excavated from the soil and apply. There are different type of rock phosphate reservoir is there, Mussoorie rock phosphate, Purulia rock phosphate is there. So, whenever rock phosphate is containing 20% of phosphorus, that is why we have always advocating the use of rock phosphate, which is allowed in our organic farming, especially in the acidic soil of India. There is other green manure and cover crops, which I have already discussed in my earlier slides. Second part is the mulching. Why it is mulching and why we are provoking the use of the mulching? Mulching is a protecting covering overland the suppress weeds, regulate soil temperature, retain soil moisture and prevent erosion. So, mulching is a crop which are used as a covering of the soil surface. We always use the mulching as a cover above the soil surface. Mulching may be different types. There may be living mulch, there may be residue mulch, there may be dust mulch, there may be plastic mulch. So, by shading the soil in warm summer months and helping to insulate the soil during cool weather, mulches help to regulate the soil temperature. So, if there is too much surface cover, I am giving rice straw or maybe maize residue or weed, if the temperature is too high and there is it covers the soil protection. So, the soil sunlight directly cannot enter the soil. So, if it is directly cannot enter the soil, our soil temperature will not be so much high. So, soil temperature will be minimum, that is will be in a optimum stage, and this soil temperature play a very crucial role, because lots of soil microorganisms, maybe earthworm, maybe beneficial bacteria and fungi live within the soil. So, whenever the soil, and they also conserve the soil moisture, because evaporation loss they are reducing. So, if there is some crop and there is no rain for several days and a farmer has not the capacity to provide irrigation, so when in the mulching crop they conserve the soil moisture or moisture water holding capacity of the soil for 7 to 8 days extra, which helps him to get a better yield. Otherwise, in case of drought or other cases, there may be chance of crop failure. The mulch covering retains soil moisture. Mulch protects the soil from erosion, because there is some too much rainfall in a particular day. We are getting in a single day we are getting 200-300 millimeter of rainfall, and most of this rainfall is not entering the soil. Due to the high intensity rainfall, the soil has been detached and soil erosion is going. But if there is some cover above the soil surface, the rainfall directly cannot enter into the soil. So, it will reduce the impact of the raindrop. So, the soil particles will not be detached and our soil total loss of the soil maybe for water erosion will be less. Similarly, also there may be wind erosion. There is a too high intensity wind is coming, and if there is some covering materials above our soil like the lime mulch and other things, our wind erosion soil loss will be also less. Then what is the different types of commonly used mulch materials we use and we should promote in our organic farming? One is straw. In certain area where the cattle population is not there so much, so rice straw is not being used. So, in that condition, that rice straw we always can be promoted as a mulch, and we have done different type of experiment under Indian Council of Agriculture research field. We have seen when after rice we want to grow a second crop, maybe pea, chickpea or lentil, always there is a problem of soil moisture, and we want to grow this type of crops in the residual soil moisture. And to grow a second crop under residual soil moisture, if we put this straw mulch in between the lentil or pea lines, it will conserve the soil moisture, it will enhance the soil condition will be better, and it will help to get some additional yield of the legume crop which are growing in the rice fallow. Similarly, compost can also use a mulches, grass clipping can be managed, plastic mulches can be managed, plastic. In case of some high value crops we are growing, maybe cucumber. In organic farming we are also promoting growing the high value crops like strawberry. So, when we cover the whole surface with this plastic mulch and we mod some small ball flies like this is, we can cover our whole area with the plastic and we can small we can make a hole, and here we can plant some type of plant. So, what will happen in that condition, the most of the area is covered by the plastic mulch. So, whatever the solar radiation cannot enter in the soil, and in this process our soil moisture will be conserved, and also help to reducing the weed population, because there will be lots of weed seed, but they will not germinate. Even they will germinate, they will be died within 2 or 3 days due to the pressure from this plastic mulch. So, this type of mulching is also advocating in our organic farming. You see, this is the picture of types of mulching. Some is plastic mulch, you see how beautifully strawberry is coming here. All the area is covered with black plastic mulch. So, we need less water, because nowadays water is very precious and we have to produce more crop per drop. So, in this condition it also conserve the moisture and so reducing the soil weed problem. Similarly, you catch the straw mulch. Here where the temperature is too high, we cannot go for plastic mulch, because it will again enhance the temperature. In case of straw mulch, if you see, it will conserve the soil moisture, but it also reducing the soil temperature. So, it provides a microclimate which is conducive for the better plant growth, and also it is reducing the weed problem. And whenever we grow this wheat straw or straw mulch, after certain time 2 months 3 months it will be decomposed. That also have lots of nutrients there. So, it will also nutrient recycling in the soil. They also help the soil conditioner. They will increase the aeration. They will increase the porosity, reducing the bark density. So, the aggregate stability and soil physical structure will be improved. Similarly, this is time mulch in Visue, in rice fallow, a second crop how is growing. We can also grow for lime mulch. Lime mulch is called when we are not using any dead part of the plants, just like straw, residue and other things, we are using a second crop, a live crop as a mulch purpose. Now, living mulches, what is called the living mulches? I have already shown in the last picture, when we are growing some crops in situ along with some plants, it is called the live mulches. Live mulches are low growing vegetative cover crops, they are intercropped with cash crops. Live mulch are also used to extend cover crop benefit. The benefit may include weed control, increase fertility and increase soil moisture. Typically, living mulches should germinate and grow in the shade and be low growing relative to the main crop. They can compete with cash crop for moisture and nutrients, so they are not recommended for low growing shallow rooted susceptible crop. So, in case of lime mulching also, we should promote that type of cropping where two plants cannot compete with each other. If that crop they are competing with our main crop for nutrient, for water, for space, for light, then our crop probably not get its optimum growth condition and yield as well as the quality may be hampered. So, always we have to take care of these type of things, maybe in intercropping, maybe in green manure, or especially also in the living mulches, which type of crop companion we should be selected. So, organic mulches benefit is also when it applied to the soil, it reduces the weed growth, it can prevent the soil capping on silty soil, it can be used to protect more tender perennials from the frost and can be decorative and protective plants for plushes of soil. So, whenever we using any organic materials, it not be plastic, we have to take organic materials, maybe plant residue, maybe wheat straw, rice straw, barley straw. You can also different type of lime mulches is there. There are lots of weed is also present in periphery of our farm. This weed can be simply chopped and we can use as a mulches. And we have shown in experiment different type of experiment. After the maize fallow, when we are growing mustard, after the maize we can grow mustard without giving any life saving irrigation with the help of these mulches. In this case, one weed is there called ambrosia, and we chop the ambrosia and we apply in between the lines of the mustard as the rate of 10 ton per hectare. So, the soil moisture will be conserved and we can get a better yield in case of respicated mustard as compared to where there is no organic or live mulch. Now, rainwater harvesting. Every day I am telling this is a very important thing. Rainwater should be harvested. We are lucky enough that we are getting enough rain in India, more than 1000 millimeter per year, but majority of our rain is going wastage. If you see, know, for 1 kilo of rice production we need 1500 to 2000 liter of water. So, enough water is needed to produce only 1 kilo of rice. Everywhere we are seeing in the case of rainy season, lots of water is flowing in the rivers of Ganges, Brahmaputra. But how could we conserve this soil, water? There may be conservation in the possession, in the construction of a very big dam and other things, but everywhere it is not possible. We should also conserve this rainwater in our field, that is called in situ water conservation. We should always try to promote the rainwater harvesting, and rainwater harvesting system can be done the catchment area. It is simply, this is a big area where the water is coming. From this area water is can be stored in a sub that, so it is called catchment area. This is called the water reservoir, and from here we can give irrigation to lower part of the area, and this is called our, this is our canal area. So, in this type of rainwater harvesting structure we are always promoting in our field. So, catchment should be there. So, what should be the flush, what type of filter we should use so that there will not be siltation, and there are lots of work has been done, and water conservation should be promoted, and our present government is also promoting very high how to conserve soil moisture, because every day there you are getting sometimes rain, you are may not be get rain for 20 days, and if there is no rain for 20 days there is a huge chance of crop failure, and our population is increasing. So, we have to grow 2 or 3 crops in the same land. So, how we will do? If we conserve the soil moisture, if we conserve the water in some rainwater harvesting structure, we can use this water in the month of winter when there is no rain, and we can give life saving irrigation to different type of crops. So, what is the advantage of rainwater harvesting? Less cost, because if we every time, suppose in case of Punjab, Haryana and certain UP, we are uplifting the water from the very much lower depth of the soil, and every year we are uplifting the soil from the deeper layer, and the water level is depleting years after year. So, there may be after 20 or 30 years our palm may not reach that soil layer. So, always we have not to use only the groundwater, we have to always conserve the rainwater harvesting which God has given as a natural gift, and also there is a need of our recharging of the soil. It also decreases the demand for water. It improves the quality and quantity of the groundwater. This technology is relatively simple, easy to install and operate. It reduces soil erosion, stormwater runoff, flooding and pollution of surface water. If you say in the western part of our India, soil salinization is being occurred. Every year the groundwater what we are using to different type of boro oil is saline in nature. So, whenever we are applying this soil, this water to our agricultural field by the process of irrigation, the salt is coming to the surface. So, nowadays the salt accumulation has been occurred in the soil surface. So, crop growth is being hampered. So, always we have to try to promote to water conserved by rainwater, because this is given free, and this rainwater is not a salty water, it is a pure water. So, how much this rainwater you can conserve, in which capacity, upon that our future, not only future agriculture, also future civilization will be occur. If you know, this is a country Cape Town, and there is a so much water problem, the government has make bind any one person cannot use more than certain amount of water. So, there is also water deficiency is coming in lots of cities of India, and this problem is going to be aggravated. So, always there is a need of rainwater harvesting. If you see, we have seen a very small low cost rainwater harvesting structure in northeastern part of India, that is called Jalkund. The Meghalaya is getting tremendous rainfall, more than 3000, 4000 millimeter of rainfall, but most of the rainfall they are getting from the month of April to October. If you see November, December, January, February, March, virtually they get any rain. So, they have to go very large area to fetch up water. And what will be the cropping? Whenever we are promoting organic farming as an integrated organic farming system, kitchen gardening, that's need water. If they want to provide also livestock, they need water. So, in this hilly area, you cannot store water in your field just like a pond, because water infiltration rate is too high, percolation rate is too high. So, what we have developed, some ICR has developed some plastic culture technology that is called Jalkund. With the help of this silpoline, we can conserve the soil with rainwater, and whatever the rainwater that come into this plastic structure, up to 30,000 to 50,000 liter can be used, and this water we can use in the winter months for life saving irrigation of cabbage, cauliflower, broccoli, and also we can use for the livestock. The management of weed is very much important in organic agriculture, and in organic farming we cannot use any type of herbicide. So, our role is very much related, and if we see for that we have to take different type of holistic and organic weed management practices. So, what about the different practices we are going here? One is crop rotation, then is the cover crops, intercropping, mulching, stall seedbed, soil solarization, compost, and also different type of technology we are promoting. So, in case of crop rotation, we are growing different type of crops over the time, we have to change the crops. In intercropping, I have already discussed. Stall seedbed, in case we have to plow the field, and we have to wait certain part of time, so that whenever we are plowing the field and make it is a very good condition, the seed which are present in the deeper soil layer, they come into the surface and they germinate. After their germination, we are plow the field. So, weed population will be reduced. So, in this condition, not only for the weed management practices, this is the different practices how we are controlling the weed. Similarly, we for pest management, for disease management, we have to also think like that way. We have to use different type of natural pesticide, maybe neem oil, maybe other things, so that we cannot use any insecticide or pesticide. We have to promote this organic culture in this, so that different type of holistic approach we have to think, mechanical method, cultural method, prevention method, and also biological method we have to adopt. This is the different type of, you see how we can do for weeding in a organic farming. This is a simply cono weeder. With the cono weeder, we can just weeding in case of rice in the transplanted condition, that not only reducing the number of labor, but also reducing the cost, and also it is time saving, because sometimes you may not get labor. So, this type of different type of mechanical process of weeding we are also promoting in the organic farming. Since the farm diversification, there is a system of cropping system and farm. So, in our organic farming, we should not only promote the growing of crops and crops, because everyone has a certain limit. Until you are growing different type of rearing livestock, you will not get the cow dung, you will not get the cow urine or compost, and you cannot purchase every time from the market. So, farm diversification is always needed, and from the farm diversification we should be demand what is your local demand, what is your crop, and what type of livestock you will grow, whether fishery you will incorporate or not. So, always we have to think in a farming system mode, not in an individual cropping system mode for a successful organic farming. And if you see the farm diversification advantage, that is to increase the revenue, because you are not getting only income from the crop, you can getting milk, meat, egg, wool. So, their always price is very high. So, they also act as a your risk. So, if you get some income, if you there may be crop loss of tomato due to the hailstorm, you get some income from your livestock. There is also the security and tradition. In our Indian tradition agricultural system, every household is small and marginal farmer, there is some livestock, maybe goat, maybe pig, maybe cattle. So, always we have to promote this type of things, farm diversification in our organic farm. And if you see, you can organic polyours, environmental initiatives there, they are also promoting the forestry, tourism, power generation. So, diversified farming practices integrate ecological and economic benefits also. So, this is one integrated farming system you saw, where we are always promoting to grow different type of livestock, maybe fishery along with the crop species, and it is integrated. One component is integrated with the other, one output or waste product that is also associated with the input for the others. So, total market demand, market dependence will be less, that will be climate resilient, and they get year round income and year round employment. So, only by this farming system approach we can go for sustainable organic farming. And if you see, we have to use the pond dikes, there is a lots of area is vacant, you can grow different type of vegetables there, and also there is a vertical cropping, you can grow 2 or 3 crops in the same area. In the above there is bottle gourd, and if you see in the lower side we are grow different types of turmeric, and these are shade tolerant. Similarly, we can grow different type of crops, like also grow here squash and also grow for the turmeric. So, like this we can also grow for your composting tank. Whenever your compost tank is exposed to too much sunlight, most of the nitrogen is being lost. But if you give some cover in your compost will be superior quality. And the same place you are getting the bamboo machan, you are getting lots of yield. You are getting some extra yield of probably your pumpkin, you are getting also the bottle gourd. So, this is some additional income, and also it enriching the quality of your compost, because compost quality is very much important in organic farming, where we cannot use the fertilizer. You see, this is the ecological pathway, how one system is integrated with the other. If you see, this is the livestock unit is there, and this livestock cow dung is used as the vermicompost. This vermicompost we are applying for the field, and whatever the crop residue is there again coming back to the vermicompost unit, and also this cow dung slurry is direct coming to the water. So, fish production is there and this water is giving for the irrigation. So, all are interlinked with each other. And one was some model we have seen about 95% of the total nitrogen demand, 81% of the phosphorus and 98% of the total we can meet within our system. So, if we go this integrated organic farming system, in this mode if we promote the agriculture, our organic farming will be sustainable. So, and that will be very much risk free. Thank you.